international in Carcassonne last week against an enterprising French side, but England will have benefited from the run-out. The Boulevard stages its first international for 7 years. Let's take a look at the way the two sides will line up here tonight. Beginning with England, Marcus St. Hilaire of Leeds is the fullback. Leon Price, the 18-year-old young player inside Francis Maloney, now of Wakefield Trinity's Wildcats. Nathan McAvoy of Bradford Bulls and Darren Rogers of Castleford Tigers. At 6, it's Danny Orr of Castleford, and Paul Deakin of the Bradford Bulls wins his second cap as English vice-captain. Now the forwards, and the skipper is Steve Malloy of the Huddersfield Sheffield Giants, the new club for the year 2000. Terry Newton, now of the Wigan Warriors, is the hooker. Dean Sampson of Castleford completes the front row. It's Anthony Farrell of Leeds and Simon Horton of Wigan in the second row, and Steve McNamara of Bradford Bulls completes the lineup at loose forward. On the bench, it's Lee Jackson of the Leeds Rhinos, Nathan Sykes of the Castleford Tigers, Lee Harland of Castleford, and Steve Blakely of the Salford Reds. The coach is John Keir. Now the French, Millet the fullback, Banus, Garcia the captain, Dulac and Hules, Freycinet and Deveci. That's the back line. Up front, it's Sands, Wolf and El Kaluki, Guisset, Talek and Carrasco. And on the bench, Teixeira, Cassin, Sort and Bourlin. And the coach is Gilles Dumas, a brilliant international in his time also. Presentation party moving its way along the English ranks. Jean-Marc Garcia leading the French into this match. Their first appearance at the Boulevard was in November 1951. And 18,000 were here that night to see them play the other nationalities, including names like Arthur Clues, Brian Bevan and David Valentine in their side. They won 17-14 to the other nationalities against one of the best teams ever produced across the Channel. And the England team manager David Howes, it's a night for celebration for him this evening also, because tomorrow he celebrates 25 years in the game of rugby league. And David Howes and his coach John Keir will be hoping, after yesterday's events in Brisbane, that the national side of England can restore a little bit of that lost pride.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for the national anthem?
John Keir, no one wears a British Lion or a St George's flag of England on his chest with more pride than him. Now we have the national anthems of both nations. They've played 5 and lost 5 on this venue over the years of the French. Well, this international will allow the game of rugby league and Hull fans in particular to pay the last respects to a former chairman of the Hull club, Roy Wardby, who sadly passed away last week. Roy was at the helm of Hull when they won the Challenge Cup in that famous replayed final of 1982, and they lifted the championship under him in 1983. Roy Wardley's devotion to the game, particularly here on Humberside, will be very, very sadly missed. And the crowd here at the Boulevard and the players will observe a minute's silence prior to this match getting underway.
Right to the very top of this game, all paying a common tribute to a man who served this city in rugby league and a man who served rugby league at every level. A long-range vice president of rugby league, he is duly remembered, and here on his own ground of the Old Sharks. Would you please remain standing while we keep silence for Roy Wardley?
Wide open.
So the international will now get underway as International Rugby League returns to the Boulevard after an absence of 7 years since Great Britain, on the eve of the 1992 Lions Tour, beat the French by 36 points to 0. And the referee is a Frenchman tonight, Thierry Alibert, and he's the man in control. And the Rugby League have been putting him through the paces today and telling him all about the big screen and the video referee who is in operation here tonight for this Lincoln Financial Group International. So it's going to be great England, rather, who will get this game underway. In all white, shrill blow on Monsieur Alibert's whistle, and the game is underway at last. Good save from Bernous, tips the ball inside. Good chase from the kickoff by the English forwards as well.
Good kickoff, but well played by the winger Bernous there. Just a little bit of a hesitation, but he did offload. Just made sure that his feet did not go over the dead-in goal line.
Well, the PA announcer here at the Boulevard still going through the two teams as the international gets underway. That is bound to be a problem for the players as Vincent Wolf disappears under that particular challenge. De Vecchi was the dummy half. Good ball away, and Jason Sands disappears under the tackle. It's the last one. Crossfield kick from Freycinou, and first touch at international level for the Young Player of the Year, Leon Price of the Bradford Bulls. It's been a remarkable 1999 for that young man.
Not surprisingly, the French put him under pressure straight away, but that's good defence. Maloney forced right across the middle of the park there. It was a pretty slow start by the English last week, and many of the players thought they were quite fortunate to come away with a 28-20 win. The French certainly outplayed them in a lot of departments.
Yes, the defence was pretty good, as it is on that occasion. Dulac and De Vecchi and Vincent Wolf combining to bring down Steve McNamara. This is Deacon. He gives it width now to Danny Orr. England looking to run it early. Maloney, good goal back on the inside to Leon Price. Ghosts away from two. The support arrives from Malloy. They're keeping the ball alive, England. Deacon, as he lost it.
A little bit of a knock-on there by the halfback, but good work by Maloney. And you could see the support play was there by the skipper, Steve Malloy. But just under pressure, showed the dummy, just had to juggle with it there, but that was good work between the centre Maloney and his winger Leon Price. Quite obvious that they've worked a few things out in the dressing rooms.
Stéphane Millet, the fullback, plays the ball, and there's one thing you can say about this PA announcer, Steve-O. 2 minutes into the match, she loves the mic. Jérôme Guisset, he takes that particular tackle. This now is Vincent Wolf. He gets to halfway. Sampson and Horton. I think Horton got a bit of a bang there, and the touch judge was on. There's a bit of argy-bargy in back play as well. Good break on here, though. That was the winger Benous, clattered by Terry Newton. This is the last tackle for France. Devechi hoists the kick. Leon Price claims it, does he? Under pressure from Houles. And
I think Houles has taken it. Price certainly got to it, and I think the French winger got it, but the referee...
Well, it's the turnover anyway, it was on the last. Marcus Saint-Hilaire in possession for England. His try sealed the win in Carcassonne a week last Wednesday. Now Steve Malloy. England will certainly have benefited from that 80 minutes run out against the French.
They were a little bit disjointed, especially in the opening 20 minutes, and their coach, John Keir, was quite happy to be able to get them together. But I must say that the French coach, Gilles Dumas, is certainly going to put pressure on the debut boy, Leon Price, but he's handling well. That's a great kick.
That's a super kick from McNamara from way inside his own 20-metre zone. That's a 40-20. It'll be head and feet to the English, and it is. Great kick from McNamara, that. Back on familiar territory, of course.
Well, he knows this ground, doesn't he? It is so many times. That is a magnificent effort there. And in fact, if it wasn't for the efforts of that man, Steve McNamara, last week in Carcassonne, especially in the second half, I can assure you that the French would have come away with a shock win.
McNamara, a former Hull favourite prior to his 1996 move to the Bradford Bulls. Great kick. England in a wonderful position here. The scrum fed by Deacon. Waiting for it, Danny Orr. Here's Maloney. And Maloney, well, Millet got to him first of all. Danny Orr will switch the direction of the attack. Deacon, good ball to Saint-Hilaire. Saw a gap, flicked it wide. Price! And Price will score on his international debut. Monsieur Alibert checks with his touch judges, and that's a big smile. First try for England. First try at international level for Leon Price. Played in the Academy International last week in Perpignan. Here he is at the full international level, and what a start.
The smile said it all, but good play here. You can see how they used a dummy runner coming on the angle. The fullback, Saint-Hilaire, came in. There was no cover coming across, and what a start for his international career there. Leon Price. It all came about from this magnificent kick from the loose forward, Steve McNamara. It's a tremendous rule, this 40-20 they've introduced. But this was superb work. Unselfish running off the ball allowed Hilaire the opportunity. Back on the inside. He'll have nothing better than that. He'll remember that for a long, long time.
Well, 13 tries this season for Leon Price. That's his first at international level. First of many, many more to come, I think. But what a kick downfield, as you say, from Steve McNamara. It was that kick that created the opportunity for England. And now McNamara with the chance here to add 2 more points to the total. Bright start from the English. Good kick from McNamara. England ahead early here, 6 points to 0. And Steve McNamara, a Great Britain international as well. He'll be well pleased with that 40-20, and that really is maybe the key to victory here tonight, the kicking game.
Well, a flying start by the youngster, and rightly so. The French have applied the pressure to him on 2 occasions. He's come up trumps. And what better way to answer that type of pressure by scoring the first try. It's just what John Keir, the English coach, would have wanted. As we said in Carcassonne, Eddie, they were a little bit shaky in the opening 20 minutes. They looked somewhat confused, but not on that occasion.
No, indeed. They won 28 points to 20 in Carcassonne 10 days ago. It was a little flattering, really, to the English, but they were boosted by that late try from Marcus Saint-Hilaire. But they were pushed out of their stride, really, by tackling like that from Guisset and Devechi. And here's Dean Sampson now, and he gets the treatment from Sands and Dulac. And McNamara again goes for another 40-20. Well, it's obvious what John Keir, he will have been watching the video over the past 7 days, and he obviously sees a chink in the French armour with that deep kicking game, courtesy of the boot of McNamara.
Obvious tactics, of course, from John Keir. He knows only too well that Steve McNamara knows this ground ever so well. That really was one of the best efforts I've seen this season.
Jean-Marc Garcia is enveloped by 3 English defenders, and he's got his thigh heavily strapped, the French captain. Was limping heavily, actually, in the warm-up, I noticed. And here's a fellow who will never take a backward step. That's the prop forward, El Kalouki, shone in Carcassonne. Guisset disappears under the tackle. Gilles Dumas, the French coach, a fine international in his day as well, at half-back for France. That's not the best kick. Straight down the throat of Leon Price. And the Bradford wing sees a little space out wide. Tried to step round Sylvain Houlès. Maloney, good tackling there. Kalouki again, and Gael Talik.
Well, that's the one thing that has improved across the water. The French defence for many, many years always has been suspect.
They're moving up quickly again, though, just as they did in Carcassonne. Farrell had nowhere to move then. Newton gets the ball away to Samson. Samson with a drive up towards the halfway line.
Good work from the prop forward there. They can pave the way. They can control this game, England.
It's with Horton now. Nathan McAvoy had just overrun him on his inside. Dulac and Freysinou, the tackling. Deacon held on, stabbed it forward. Orr is a mile offside. The referee pointed at Danny Orr, must have said something. And he's not got the greatest English, apparently, hasn't Monsieur Alibert, but Danny Orr got the message then. Well, let's go down to pitch side and join Bill Arthur.
Eddie, we've seen some good defence from the French already. I was speaking to their manager, Ivan Gresek, before the kick-off, and he said they'd come here saying that they defended well for a long spell in that game at Carcassonne, and they were pleased with that. They just dropped off later on in the game to allow the English to steal it. What they're looking to do is reproduce that defensive form and not make the sort of errors that gave the game to the English in that previous match. You mentioned the English of the referee, Thierry Alibert. Well, I'm told that he's had a crash course in vital refereeing phrases, and when he calls for the big screen, he can call on the help of Steve Presley, the 4th official, to decipher exactly what the screen tells him.
It was a high swinging arm by Guisset.
Didn't miss either.
And St. Hilaire felt that.
Full back going right underneath it. Well spotted by Monsieur Alibert, the referee tonight, who looks pretty confident, I must say.
And Samson looks confident. That's a good run, taking the English deep into French territory. Newton to Malloy, the skipper. Another good drive up the middle by the forwards. Newton to restart from dummy half and gives it to Deacon, who's got a whole host of space to exploit. Great run from Deacon. What? Oh, did he drop it? No. He held on all right. The referee took a perler, and he gives the try. Wonderful try from the little halfback Paul Deacon. Marvellous run, spinning and turning all the way to the line. Had the space and exploited it to perfection.
Good work there. The French defence expected just another trail-up with one of the forwards, but it was Deacon that took on that defence. Really caught them napping. All created by the fact that he was running onto the football. Look at that. At top speed. Beautiful step. Spins around. Nothing was going to stop him. Well executed. Good build-up there by the English side, especially the forwards. We saw Samson driving in, making sure that the cover defence was sucked into one centre, allowing the chance for the little halfback, Paul Deacon. Superb play.
Excellent try, and McNamara will surely add the extras for this, which he does. England, a dream start here at Hull, 12 points to 0.
You can see the two markers slow to get away, and look how far the defence is out wide. It was a huge gap to run straight towards the referee, steps away there. He spins, he scores, referee goes over.
Yeah, I saw the ball go up in the air, and I also saw the referee hit the deck and thought that Deacon had lost it, but no problems, as you could see.
Well, I was very critical about the type of play that Ryan Sheridan used against the Australians on Friday, Eddie. I was critical of the fact that they didn't take on the defence, just like the youngster Paul Deacon has done there. And if you play the ball quickly enough, which they did, they really can catch the opposition out.
Absolutely. Don't forget that a crucial match for Great Britain and Ireland next Friday morning at 7:30 on Sky Sports 1. New Zealand against Great Britain. The highlights at 7 o'clock that night. Full match it is. You'll be able to see every one of the 80 minutes, and Great Britain, after their defeat yesterday, must win by 20 points to make it to the final. It'll have to be a massive improvement, though.
Certainly will, but the French down to 12 is, I think it's a hooker.
No, it's Jason Sands.
Is it Jason Sands that's getting treatment there, the prop forward? He took a bad knock. He's very groggy.
Nice chip through, and well collected by Millet, who will turn defence into attack immediately. The young man who has come in for his 5th cap and his first appearance in 4 years, and he gets the penalty. Overzealous by Marcus Saint-Hilaire. Stéphane Millet from the Saint-Gaudens club.
Well, the fullback a little bit for his corner from, first of all, the second rower Simon Horton, and then Marcus Saint-Hilaire. That's a silly penalty to give away, because England really are taking control of this game. They cannot afford to let this French side come back. We saw last week in Carcassonne, they're capable of creating some very good tries.
And Kaluki, who was their most impressive forward on the night, and look at that, a great driving run, offloads brilliantly. And this is Vincent Wolf. He disappears under the challenge from Danny Orr. De Vecchi, Freyssinou looks wide and finds his captain Garcia, who will come back this way again, then takes on Farrell, releases the pass to Freyssinou. They love to keep the ball alive, don't they? This is Guisset.
Good scrambling defence, though, by the English. They got back very quickly.
De Vecchi. Talek. Castleford Tigers. 6 Englishmen from Castleford, 1 Frenchman. Great representative from Stuart Raper's Tigers. And this now is Carrasco, the loose forward. They're inching towards the line. This is the last tackle for France. De Vecchi will slide the kick through. Price is there to tidy up for England.
Good position there by the young winger. Anticipated the kick through from the halfback, and you can see that he has the height. Got down very well to that indeed. He really has come on a bundle, hasn't he? I mean, the young player of the year. What a great call-up for this guy, and well deserved.
Indeed so, one for the future. Nathan McAvoy driving it up again for England. Terry Newton, Steve Malloy. There looks a lot more urgency about England's play.
Well, they're sharing the work out as well. The forwards are getting over the advantage line, and that is another magnificent kick downfield.
This time from the boot of Deacon. And Poules, the youngster, who was so impressive in Carcassonne a week ago. But that's a great chase. And Danny Orr did well there. Now Millet again, up the middle he goes. Lanky, blonde fullback. And Benous with a good drive, halted by Terry Newton. We'll do our best, by the way, to keep you up to date with all the changes made by the 2 coaches tonight, either verbally or on the screen, because it is an international played with unlimited interchange. The break from Guisset, halted by Saint-Hilaire. The last tackle, Wolf gets it away to Freyssinou. Here's De Vecchi. De Vecchi slides the kick. Garcia goes for it. Price, though, stood there tall and just plucked it out of the air.
Well, just an unlucky bounce there. You could see that the skipper, Jean-Marc Garcia, just got a toe to it. But he stood proud and strong, did Leon Price. But that was a beautiful run by Guisset, but he really should have offloaded to the centre. Arnaud Dulac was on the right-hand side. That is a try gone begging, I'm afraid.
Malloy, the English captain, plays it to Terry Newton. Now it's with Deacon. Deacon then to McAvoy. McAvoy saw a gap, went for it. Oh, not the best, I'm afraid. Straight over the top of everyone and into touch.
Well, nice step. Did the right thing. You can see that Rogers just had half the chance out wide. And the right French winger just sucked in.
Aaron Rodgers, it's his 2nd cap, debut last week. He was praised by John Keir after the match in Carcassonne. This is the first meeting on English soil between these 2 nations since Gateshead in 1996. when England won by 73 points to 6. Something of a watershed that for the French game. They regrouped, regathered,
Big
and they've
problems
come
there
back
for
a lot stronger.
Danny Orr, he's in a lot of pain.
So in the moment, England are down to 12 as Kaluki drives it in. Newton felt that, and he did well to come back at him with the help of Sampson. Wolf gets the ball away to Texido. Danny Orr is in all sorts of trouble. Meanwhile, Devechi onto Freysinou, and Freysinou wide it goes. Dulac will score. Nothing McAvoy could do about that. Thierry Alibert blows the whistle, and Arnaud Dulac celebrates his 8th international for France with the try as Danny Orr is helped from the field. That's a blow for England, and it might be a blow for Castleford.
Certainly is, but full credit to the French. They kept the ball alive. Long ball out wide there to Dulac, who just slid across. Nothing that McAvoy could do. Kept with his man, but the English down to 12 men. Good tactics to spread the ball out wide. This is good play by the centre, just at the right time. The wingman came on the inside, just enough to confuse Nathan McAvoy. And Dulac gets the try that perhaps he should have scored a few moments earlier when Gisset made that lovely break.
Arnaud Dulac, he made his debut at loose forward in a 16-all draw against New Zealand in 1995 in Palmerston North. But of more concern to the English is the injury to Danny Orr. Now, Stéphane Millet, leading point scorer in France last year, but he hasn't been able to convert that try. Just looks ruefully back at the kicking peg. Stéphane Millet, leading point scorer, as I say, in the French league last year.
There you see it's man-to-man marking, not the sliding defence, but they are going backwards, and that allowed the centre just swivel in. Good effort. Tremendous play. This is a break from Gisset, and you could see there he looked, and he had Dulac on the inside on that occasion, but he was not to be outdone. 2 minutes later, he has put the French back in this match.
Well, Danny Orr off the field, and the Warrington Wolves, of course, lost the services of John Roper and also Mark Hilton last week with bad injuries, and that will disrupt their pre-season for the year 2000, and I hope that Danny Orr won't be too disruptive to the Castleford Tigers coach Stuart Raper.
Well, we saw there the substitute Frederick Texido. He came on several times last week, and he was instrumental in offloading the ball, looked just like he has done a few moments ago. They really have improved this French outfit, not only just in defence, but they are very creative.
There's Texido again. Yes, John Keir can actually take a little bit of the credit for this, the revitalisation of the French. He had just the one international in charge of them, and they beat South Africa. He had 13 months across the channel working with the French national side, and what you're seeing now is the product of a lot of the John Keir reorganisation of the French national team. But he's more concerned now with the English game. 12-4 his men lead. Little kick by Freysinou, just run dead. Well, let's get some news about Danny Orr. It looked a bad injury, Bill.
Yeah, it looked bad. It looks as though it might be improving slightly, though. There you can see Danny Orr with ice on that shin. He's had a heck of a bang on that. It's jarred his calf muscle, and they've taken him off really just to see whether it'll calm down before they make any further diagnosis of the injury. Of course, in the previous game in Carcassonne, England lost Mark Hilton early on with that broken arm, and the news of him is that he's had another plate put in, and hopefully this time it'll do the trick and he will be able to get his career back on track.
Here to that. This is another wonderful kick from Deacon, another 40-20.
Augurs well for the future, doesn't it? We've seen Leon Price score a nice try, and also a try scorer, Paul Deacon. So confident for such a tender age. The vice-captain, of course, here in the English side, raised a few eyebrows when the coach John Keir nominated him.
Well, his club coach, Matthew Elliott, calls him a real champion. Paul Deacon, there he is feeding the scrum. Gets it away to Blakely. Blakely back to McAvoy. Former Salford teammates, of course. Deacon. Shrill blast of the referee's whistle. The French offside. England running it. Driving in. Samson will score. The French on the back foot. Samson with the drive. And Dean Samson, who put England on the road to victory with a try in the 4th minute last week, brings a scowl to the face of French coach Gilles Dumas.
When you come on the burst, drive hard. This is the offside where they got the penalty. They were quick to take the quick tap. Newton switched it away, and he took every opportunity, did the big fella. He's had a great season. That's a fine try. And you see they just hung back a little bit there. Nothing that Tuxedo could do. He went straight at his chest, did Samson. Great upper body strength here. This had to be scored. 3 in attendance, give me the 4.
Tries in successive internationals then for Big Dean Samson. Angry to be left out of Great Britain's Tri-Nations, or rather Tri-Series tour down under. But 2 tries against the French for England. That will give 1 or 2 people a nudge. And McNamara now with the opportunity to add the 3rd conversion of the night. Doesn't miss those. So 18 points to 4. England with a commanding lead here at the Boulevard.
Good work, though, by the prop forward from the Castleford Tigers. As Eddie has mentioned, quite a lot of things to prove to Andy Goodway, the Great Britain coach, omitted from the squad, which also raised a few eyebrows around the rugby league circles. So maybe that try there will just give the Great Britain coach a little bit of a nudge that he's still around.
So 18 points to 4, England ahead at the Boulevard, a ground that hosted the Student World Cup final only 6 days ago. New Zealand beat England on that occasion 46 points to 16. But here at full international level, Steve Malloy's men will be well pleased with the start that they've made.
Sure can, and even though you and I are not too impressed with the on and off rule that they utilise here on the internationals, and I must say, it must be a boon for a man like Dean Samson to be able to have a bit of a rest, really give it 15 minutes, then go off, have a rest, come back, just like the Australians do.
Good ball there from Blakely to Maloney. Lovely inside pass to Leon Price. Blakely following up in support. Just couldn't get the ball away to Deacon.
Classy football there.
England are getting more and more confident as this match progresses. McNamara with the kick to the corner. Oh, and it was a good job that Benus was there, because McAvoy was hunting the opportunity.
Well, he's not the tallest winger, is he? Patrice Benus. And he is put under a lot of pressure by the tall centre, McAvoy. It was a good option, good kick there by the loose forward, Steve McNamara.
Sylvain Hules, Vincent Wolf at dummy half, and that is the loose forward Laurent Carrasco. Wolf again, and Tuxedo, scrambling defence. Good call though from Wolf, who stayed there in support. This is Gail Talek. He was a French international before he made it into the Wigan side. And there's your friend, Steve-O, Abdurazak El Kaluki.
The speed bump. Hasn't had much opportunity so far. It's been all England. They've had the majority of possession. But it's a far better performance by the English side so far.
England in control of the match in terms of possession and on the scoreboard. Horton. They got to him, and that could be a penalty easily. And he's furious with the referee.
Well, he milked it long enough, didn't he? The big second rower, Simon Horton. Just waved away by Mr. Alibert.
Good play from Nathan Sykes on for Sampson. He's found Newton, that's a risky pass, and Freyssinou has gobbled it up again for France.
Well, a bit of messy play there. For one occasion, the English did not support. That was a good opportunity there by the hooker, Terry Newton. It sucked into would-be tacklers, and the opportunity for the half break was there.
Good defence from Maloney on Garcia, even though Garcia eventually got the pass away. Here now is Bernous again. England having made 4 handling errors and the French none. First touch there for Borlin.
Another English player down. Oh, well spotted there by Nathan McAvoy.
It's Terry Newton who's flattened.
There you see McAvoy ready well. The ball was being offloaded, and it looks a bad injury as well to the hooker, Terry Newton.
Good run from Simon Horton.
Another problem for the English.
Rogers dummy half. Nathan Sykes to drive it in, a la Sampson style. Rogers again, Newton back, receiving treatment. England playing on without a recognised hooker at the moment. Farrell does well to Malloy. On it goes to Blakely. Blakely to nobody. Oh, that was risky. Devechi has swooped. On to Freyssinou. Good job that St. Hilaire was there.
Did so well. Did the fullback Marcus St. Hilaire. Devechi was well and truly away. But good scrambling defence by the English.
Another change. Lee Jackson comes on then for Terry Newton.
Mistakes coming fast and furious by the English side. Perhaps just trying to force the play a little bit too much. Get back to basics perhaps would be a better option. I'm sure John Keir, the coach, will get that message across.
Freyssinou, good long pass. Good charge by Goules. Here's Garcia. Garcia floats the kick. And it's well claimed by Rogers.
Good positional
behind
play.
His own try line, so that's the diffusion of the ball.
Just made sure the twinkle toes got in the in-goal area. There'll be a tap on the quarter line there on the 20.
Well, we've seen 2 English players go down badly injured, Danny Orr and Terry Newton. We've heard about Orr. What about the news of Terry Newton, Bill?
Don't think Terry Newton knows exactly where he is at the moment. He's got a real bang on the back of his head, and he's having ice on it at the moment, and he was very, very groggy when they helped him from the pitch. He's looking a bit more alert now. News and Danny Orr, incidentally, still sitting there, ice on the shin, but the indications are it's not as serious as it first looked.
Good news. St. Hilaire underneath 3 French tacklers. Lee Jackson now. Back it goes. It was only just, though, into the arms of Horton. That's the last.
Again, risky business by the English players. Jackson, the hooker, going a little bit too adventurous. Nice kick.
Sliced kick, and it's knocked backwards, but a knock-on rules the French referee. Disputed by Leon Price.
Yeah, I think it was a forward. Just went forward in the end. Such height, though, hasn't he, Leon Price? That's one advantage that the English side do have. Both these wingers, Price and Rogers, well over 6 foot. So the tactics by the English surely will to be kicking into the right winger, Patrice Bernous.
Jason Sands is back on. Player coach for the Villefranche club. Wolf to Devechi, misses out Freyssinou, misses out 2 more. They lose the momentum.
Ooh, that was a swinging arm there. And he didn't miss Anthony Farrell.
Guisset.
Well, he got it away. Rather frustrating to everybody concerned.
Freyssinou carries it to the battle on for France. Referee checking with both touch judges. No knock-on in there. So here comes Borlin again, the substitute. Mind you, there are plenty of substitutes being made in the interchange rule tonight. Devechi. And this now is Sort. Steps out of one challenge, runs through another. He's got support. Support from Sands, who will score for France. Oh, he's hurt himself in the process. clutches the elbow, or is it the ribs? He has gone to the screen. Thierry Alibert. Now then, there's a problem here.
Surely can work out TRY.
Well, he hasn't told us what he's
be.
looking for. He's going to go over to the touch judge and Steve Presley on this far side.
Yes. Were there too many tackles?
Tony, will you check to see if they scored on the 7th tackle? Or was it an infringement and it went back to 0?
I wait, play on. I wait, play on. Thierry thought it was back to 1. Check that it was whether it was the 5th and last or not.
So, 5th and last or not?
Well, they seem to think that he's lost the count. He got on the 7th tackle. And they want to find out whether the referee, Mr. Alibert, has actually waved 6 again. But it was a good run from Romain Sort. Must say that the English defence at the 1st and 2nd marker were caught napping there. And I think that's where the incident, where he seems to think that Jackson has touched it. If that's the case, then Mr. Sands will be given the try. And the French are back in this game yet again.
Is he wondering whether he's miscounted?
Or was it a touch there?
There was a touch there, was there?
Was it Lee Harland?
I think there was.
I think Lee Harland may have got a fingertip to it. You can see that the referee there on the replay is looking towards the touch judge. So this will be TRY for mine.
Well, here it is. And the try is given to the French. Jason Sands with his first try for France at international level. France are back in it.
Super work there. Back on the inside. And you can see that a lot of the English defence was standing. Sykes was caught flat-footed. It looked as though Sort had made the wrong option. It looked as though he was going to go on his own. But right at the last minute, the substitute, Romain Sort, just pops the ball up. Superb. See how he sucked in the full-back, Marcus Saint-Hilaire. Excellent play.
Well, Jason Sands, player coach, as I say, of his club, an Australian who played for Paris Saint-Germain in Super League. 28 appearances, no tries, but this is his 6th international cap, and he's come up with his first try for his adopted country. Millet with the conversion attempt. That's found the mark this time, and it's 18 points to 10 now to England.
When the French brought the ball back, you can see out there that the English defence was just standing. And they were caught napping. John Keir, the English coach, will be far from impressed by that. But that certainly would have lifted the spirits of the Frenchmen. That was a fine effort. Lovely break by Romain Sort.
McNamara's kick-off, all along the ground, hit the chest of Patrice Benus. But the English chase was pretty sound. Wolf's dummy half. England now caught offside. Big rush. Wolf takes it quickly.
Quick thinking there by the French, and well, went on from the sublime to ridiculous there, didn't they? They were slow on that in defence were the English, then a little bit over-enthusiastic, got the penalty.
Well, that try has given them a lot of heart. Here is Borlan again. Wolf scampering into dummy half. Plenty of tackles left here for France. Wolf with a kick to the corner. Good chase here between Price and Wolf. Price gets it. Good sweeping by the Bradford winger.
Well, you think that Leon Price has been playing international football for a very long time. That really was great work from him. He made sure that whilst he was running for the football, he used every part of his arm, his shoulders. As long as you don't pull anybody back, you can shoulder charge and go for the football, and he put himself well and truly in between the ball and the Frenchman. That's good work from the hooker. Lee Jackson, that's more like it from the English boys.
Well, he is the most experienced member of this English team. That's a big booming kick downfield from McNamara. Benus. chase not that clever from an English point of view. Haaland, and in the end Sykes getting to him. Here's Millet again.
Well, that's where they're missing the real enthusiasm of the standoff. Danny Orr. On every kick, you can guarantee that Orr is one of the first there in the chasing game. And there he is, unfortunately. Let's hope it's not too severe, the injury.
Ball down to the halfway line for the French. Wolf looks right and finds try-scorer Sands. Deacon and Horton deal with him. That's the last for France, this set of 6. 4 minutes to half-time. They're running it. Freyson, who now puts the kick in. The winger on the far side, a mile offside. Maloney's picked it up for England anyway. Here comes Marcus Saint-Hilaire. Gets away from Talek. Can't get away, though, from Cassin. And also the winger Hules.
Good refereeing there. Allowed the advantage on. Quite obvious from everybody that Hules, the winger, was about a metre forward before that kick was put in.
Good run from Jackson. Good support from Maloney again, and he's through. He's got Leon Price. Price cuts inside Guisset, goes round the back of Wolf. Where's the support? It's way out here on the left-hand side. It's now with Rogers. Horton called for it. The stretch down the left, and this is McAvoy. Forced in touch. Good defence from the Frenchman.
Great scrambling defence. It had to be as well. Great
It was a wonderful move from England.
Sure was. Francis Maloney. He's certainly having a top game tonight. Did everything right. Price stayed out, jinked back in, looking for the support. It was a long ball. And when Horton came streaming through, good offload to McAvoy. That is fantastic defence. Coming across. Saved the day. This English side cannot take this French outfit too lightly.
Good scrambling by Dulac and company.
He's impressed me as a centre, Arnaud Dulac. Gets through a lot of work in defence.
Only 8 points in it as we approach half-time. It remains a contest here at the Boulevard. But I think the 2 games we've seen, or at least the game and a half that we've seen over the past 10 days, has proved that the game in France is getting back into really good shape. And from an international point of view, in the World Cup, of course, next year, World Cup 2000, that is good news.
Again, we see solid defence there from the centre, Dulac.
That's Haaland. He plays it to Jackson. Jackson, the pass to Deacon. Fancy's taking them on again. Deacon. Enterprising little run. Jackson once again. Chance for England here to extend the lead on half-time. Maloney, danger here for France. Try for England. Francis Maloney. Well, that's crowned a fine first half for the new Wakefield Trinity Wildcat, Francis Maloney.
Super play by the centre. Quick feed out wide from McNamara, and you can see he took it on the run, just a little bit of a shimmy and a dummy. He was always going to beat the opposite centre. This is good work from Maloney. He's having a fine match. Excellent there. Utilised the winger out wide. Scampers through. You'll remember that. Proud moment for Francis Maloney, and why not?
Well, his debut last week, his first international call since an under-21 cap in 1993. Francis Maloney, Wildcat next year, his 6th club. Much travelled, Francis Maloney. But he's now played for all 3 in that particular area, Featherstone, Castleford and Wakefield. Completes the set. McNamara with the conversion attempt. Oh, he's kicking well tonight on his old stamping ground, Steve McNamara. 24 points to 10, right on the stroke of half-time. Psychologically, an excellent time to score for England. Probably won't restart. As you can see, 40 minutes up. And that will do, says Thierry Alibert, and Francis Maloney with that try. The 4th English try in that first half. A deserved lead of 24 points to 10, but take nothing away from the French effort. Dulac and Sands with the try for them. Millet with the goal. 24-10 at half-time. And Steve McNamara's kicking tonight has been impeccable so far.
Tonight, a night of boxing not to be missed. On Sky Sports 1, Britain's Richie Woodall defends his WBC super middleweight title against Germany's undefeated Marcus Bayer. Then from midnight tonight, for Sky Digital viewers only on Sky Sports Extra. He's back. Iron Mike Tyson steps into the ring to fight Orlin Norris. A night of boxing not to be missed.
Most clubs in Europe have state-of-the-art scrummaging machines. Hydraulic scrummaging machines never get tired. But here in the Kalahari, they use these. These never get tired either.
These are our favourite websites. Here's Mum's. Here's my sister's. She's also from another planet. Oh yeah, this one's mine. This one's cool. Do you have anything like this where you come from?
Right. With the internet, the whole world's at your fingertips.
Wicked.
And with BT, access to the internet is free.
What's going on in here?
Just call 0800 800 001 for a disc.
This is madness.
No trainers.
Trainers are cool.
Trainers are cool.
So you're gonna let us in?
So I'm gonna let you in. Go ahead.
Is the Force with you?
Everyone's a winner with new Lucky Bags in tomorrow's Sunday Mirror, and 1 in 7 wins cash, guaranteed. Win with Lucky Bags starting in tomorrow's Sunday Mirror and the Mirror.
Everyone's a winner.
This autumn, there are thousands of new products at Homebase, like 124 new wall coverings from only $3.49. 129 new paints from only $4.99. 21 new power tools from only $19.99. And 118 new lights from only $4.99. With thousands of new products, you're better off at Homebase.
Half-time at the Boulevard, England 24, France 10. Price, Deacon, Samson, Maloney with the tries. McNamara kicking well tonight. Dulac and Sands and Millet with the goal for the French. A 14-point lead then for England at half-time. Fancy that John Keir will be well pleased in that dressing room during the half-time interval. A much more composed 40 minutes. And lots, I think, for Gilles Dumas, the French coach, to say to his men. But the French game is in fine spirit, isn't it? And I think over the past couple of weeks we've seen the improvement that French Rugby League has made over the past couple of years, and John Keir, the English coach, Steve-O, can take a little bit of credit for that as well. He was over there in France for about 13 months prior to coming to the Sheffield Eagles.
I think especially in defence, but their attacking skills, they are very, very good, and it didn't surprise us, did it, that Dumas, the French coach, started to put the pressure on the debut boy, Leon Price. He defused 2 good kicks into the corner and then came up with a wonderful opening try, and it was a super effort from him. This all came about from the kick from McNamara. Look at this, 40-20. This really does lift the spirits. John Keir was disappointed with their showing last week in France, but they certainly got off to the flying start. Watch for the dummy runners here. Unselfish running there by the forwards. St. Hilaire on the link. He just knows when to come back on the inside. What a debut try for this fella. And then Deacon running onto the football. Take on the defence. He's capable of doing that. Nothing wrong with the put down. And it looked as though the English were going to run away with it. But again, you see that just falling asleep in the defence. This is where Gise made the break, and he really had Dulac on the outside. But he wasn't going to be outdone a couple of minutes later. This was where England were down to 12 men. Danny Orr was being taken off the field at this point. But Dulac, who has impressed me, scored a try. A penalty came, and the big fella. This is sheer strength. Get out of the way. That was a great effort from Dean Sampson. But again, we will see the English. They just lacked and didn't fill in on the blind side. When the French come back, Sort made the break. And Sands, that was great support by the prop forward. But this was superb centre play by Francis Maloney. Look how he positioned his body. Once he got outside the centre, it was always going to be a try. He's having a fine night, Francis Maloney. And I think that John Key will be quite happy with the way things have gone, apart from just a couple of defensive errors. They've been a little bit slow. The French do switch the play back, and I'm sure that John Key will be making sure that they don't do and drop down in that department in the second 40.
Well, of course, this match is, and the one in Carcassonne 10 days ago, the start, Steve-O, and the build-up to World Cup 2000. There are players there in the white English jersey who are making their presence felt. I know we've got players down under who have got English qualification, but these fellas, some of them might take a bit of shifting.
My word, and I think that you've got to start looking at the two wingers. OK, we know that Jason Robinson virtually picks himself, but there's certainly nothing wrong with the way that Rogers has had the two games. He's playing well tonight as well, and we've seen the youngster Leon Price. Both sides, interestingly enough, a lot of youngsters out there, both in the French side and, of course, in the English outfit. So it augurs well, not only just over the water, but for this country as well.
Indeed so. So we're building up towards World Cup 2000. This time next year, we'll just about be in the swing of the competition, looking for the world champions of the next millennium. But right now, we've got 40 minutes of football to concern ourselves with. And England are ahead by 14 points at half-time, and they'll be looking to build on that in the second half.
Only NatWest credit cards give you air miles every time you spend, helping you see the world for free.
Rim.
Stuck in a dead-end job. You have nothing to look forward to. To never be told thank you.
To be a creep.
To be bullied by my boss. Yes, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. To never be asked my opinion. To never have an opinion.
To pretend to myself I like my job.
You're just a click away from the job you deserve.
I said give me a crumpet, not a trumpet! Man, every time I gotta do things myself. What's going... Oh, thank you for believing it, baby.
At age 23, he set out to do what no computer company had ever done. Build every computer to order, back every computer with service, and work hand in hand with every customer. As the world's leading direct marketer of computer systems, Dell is far outpacing the industry growth rate. Where do you find companies changing the way the world does business? Actually, they're listed in the Financial Times, the NASDAQ stock market.
The Saturday Premier, in association with Budweiser.
Travel back in time.
Take it to see Mr. Murdoch.
To a moment in history.
Iceberg, right ahead!
That shook the world.
How much time? Hour.
Don't you understand? There aren't enough boats.
Open the gate!
Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet.
You jump high, jump right.
The first showing of Titanic tonight at 8 on Sky Premiere. The biggest films every Saturday night, guaranteed.
More international football for you next Friday at 7:30 in the morning. New Zealand against the Great Britain and Ireland team, with highlights at 7 o'clock on Sky Sports 1 that evening. It's the match that England must win by 20 points. Great Britain, I beg your pardon, Great Britain and Ireland must win by 20 points or more to qualify for the Tri-Series final against Australia. Full moon over the boulevard tonight. A week from Halloween, so we're fairly safe.
Wouldn't be too sure about that.
And the players back on the field for the second half. Mentioning the World Cup during half-time, and indeed just before the half-time siren, England in the first group, which includes Australia, Fiji and Russia. Matches are being played in the World Cup 2000 in Wales, in Scotland and Ireland and in France. And the French form Group 3 with Papua New Guinea, South Africa and Tonga. So England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland and France throughout Europe. The World Cup 2000 will be with us in around about 12 months' time.
Be some tongue twisters in that lot then, Eduardo.
Yes, we'll be doing 12 months comprehensive research.
Only got just used to this French side, and now they throw the Tongans and the Papua New Guineans.
Freycinou gets the second half underway. Simon Horton collected on the bounce, off the foot. First break of this second half. He's shown up well, Simon Horton, in the two matches as well.
Such a strong runner.
Amazingly, the only Wiganer in the England setup, and I know there are plenty down under with Great Britain, but the only Wiganer in this English setup for John Keir.
And I'm pretty sure that John Keir is quite happy that he has the likes of Simon Horton on board. He likes to run out wide amongst the centres.
Deacon managed to regather the ball, gave it to Haaland. It's the last tackle here for England. A stab through by Deacon. The loose forward Carrasco gets to it.
French down to 12 now. The centre Arnaud Dulac picked up a bad knock there. And he came in awkward into a tackle. And I think some of these French players are feeling the pressure out there. Some pretty strong defence now from the English.
Wolf to Devechi, and here is Jason Sands. Gets 10 metres ground inside the English half of the field. Wolf, away it goes to El Kalouki.
It was pretty quiet in the first half, the prop forward, Kalouki.
He was brilliant in Carcassonne 10 days ago.
Certainly was, and he's the type of player that the French need to really hit top form. That's a poor kick. Well taken by Leon Price, but no pressure applied.
Maloney gets away from one, can't get away from Millet. Jackson at dummy half. Haaland, shaped to throw a long pass, took the tackle in the end. The referee holds up play because there is a French player injured. And it's the winger Hules, the young 18-year-old, who got a try on his debut last week. And by the looks of things, he's taken a bang in the nose. The French 1998 Tri-Nations tournament winners, of course. And as we have mentioned throughout the night, new optimism in France. Games now regularly being shown on French television, as is this game from Humberside. But he doesn't look too well, does he, young Sylvain Hules from the Trey Catalan club in Perpignan. He is heading to the sideline. Let's go down to the sideline and hear from Bill about the half-time news.
As you see, Sylvain Hules coming on, and it looks as though Jean-Emmanuel Cassin will come on in his place. Not the start that the French wanted to this second half. Obviously, as far as England goes, their coach, John Keir, pretty satisfied with that first 40 minutes from his side, apart from the fact that they allowed the French to offload on too many occasions, which was where they caused them the only problems that they did really cause them, and that was when they did manage to get the ball away. They won't be looking for sloppiness like that, though, from Dean Sampson, which I think immediately has handed possession back to the French. Good news from the England point of view is that Danny Orr, who went off with that nasty leg injury, should be able to come back on. He's shrugged off that shin injury and should be able to come on.
That's good news for England then. Freyssinou, on it goes to Millet. Wrapped up by Saint-Hilaire. Oh, good run up the middle by Freyssinou. Freyssinou's outstripped the English defence. That's a great try. And I think he got it down, did he? Touch judge just has a look. Oh, we might be having another... No, I was going to say we might be having another video referee decision here. Great start for Gilles Dumas and the French. Laurent Freyssinou, his first try for his country. And a great try too, and Dean Sampson punished for the sloppy pass.
Was a sloppy pass, but it was even more sloppy in the first and second marker. It was, well, it just wasn't there. That's a good effort by the standoff. Laurent Freyssinou, that really is good speed off the mark. But you have to point the finger yet again. I said at half-time that surely John Keir would have asked him to make sure there's a lot more determination. Had that play the ball area, there was none there. Total confusion, and the standoff made no mistake at all. It's the start they wanted.
Perfect start, second cap. France's under-21 Player of the Year in 1998. Don was the rising star of French Rugby League, and he is the leading point scorer in the game across the channel, Stéphane Millet. See how good he is as a kicker now, and he's pushed it the wrong side of the posts. 100 goals for Saint-Gaudens this year, but that would have put them within touching distance of England if he'd have kicked the goals he's missed.
See the second marker, he'll move away, leaves an enormous gap there for the standoff. Bang! That is poor defence. They have to tighten up. And the standoff, Freyssinou took full advantage. It was a great effort. Straight from the dummy half position.
Deep kick-off from McNamara. Well, they won't lie down, will they? And we saw some sloppy defence from Great Britain yesterday morning against the Aussies in Brisbane, and that was more sloppy defence from the English here. And it's a bit of a national blight at the moment, I'm afraid. But let's hope Great Britain and Ireland tighten up next Friday when they play the Kiwis in that vital match. 7:30 in the morning next Friday with the full match highlights, 7 o'clock that night, Sky Sports 1. Tell you what, he blows the pee out of this whistle, doesn't he? Monsieur Alibert, it deafens me every time.
Well, if it's there, you may as well use it, Eddie. Don't have a little dribble into it, you just let the players know.
Jason Sands now up the middle for France. And here they come again. 5.5 minutes of this second half gone. The French with their tails up. Freyssinou, who scored the try, onto Dulac.
Ball could have been caught for a Shepherd there, but they got away with it. Big prop forward, Kaluki.
Freyssinou again, and here's the loose forward Carrasco.
Well, it certainly lifted the spirits, and the French side are moving over the advantage line.
It'd be very interesting if they score here, this set of 6. Freycinou again, good movement from them. Millet, good defence though from Maloney and Price. Maloney's had a fine match tonight.
He picked out the full-back who'd chimed into the three-quarter line. And after this big hit from Maloney and Price, he probably is left wondering that he might have liked to have stepped on the inside. But as you say, Francis Maloney certainly taken the opportunity.
England coming forward again now with Horton. Good drive upfield by Nathan Sykes. Anxious to take his international opportunity as well. Good ball out wide from McNamara to Rogers. But the scrambling French defence comes back to cut the opportunity down. McNamara once more. Up into the air for Blakely, and Blakely will hoist the kick. That's a tester for Millet. They blocked him well then. Garcia just stood in front of Deacon as he went to try and contest that high ball with the French fullback.
And it was a shuddering tackle there from the substitute, Steve Blakely. Good kick, and that's a mistake.
England have it back. And Maloney grasping the opportunity. Sykes now. Strong run.
Good play from the forwards is needed now. Try to suck in the defence. You can see how they're just moving up out wide. Oh, good ball.
He took that on the fly, did McAvoy, but he was also tackled on the fly as well. Guisset leading the way with Dulac. McNamara hangs on, takes the tackle from Sands. Rogers, Deacon, switches the direction of the attack. Oh, he nearly bamboozled them all, did little Paul Deacon.
Good work from Guisset, the second row. It had to be as well.
McNamara slides the kick through. He's after it. Great try, St. Hilaire. They're going to go to the screen again. Was he onside? Was he offside?
Well, I think it was well onside. Beautifully placed, kicked over on the loose forward. Ooh, not so sure. He came from behind McNamara, and it's going to be touch and go here. I think he's just in front. He's just behind McNamara. It's a set move, and you can see there's no one at home. The fullback is absolutely nowhere. Stéphane Millet, nowhere to be seen. And I think we might get an NOTRY here. No problem about getting the ball down, but was he onside? I think it was just a touch in front. I think this might be NOTRY.
Well, let's see. It's a try. Marcus St. Hilaire delayed the run to perfection. Big smile. Try last week in Carcassonne that sealed the match, and that could be the one that breaks the French hearts.
Set move, as I said, but I'm not so sure that I'm convinced that St. Hilaire, the full-back, was behind the kicker. I think it was just a fraction in front, but let's not take anything away from the effort. And again, Steve McNamara has steadied the ship and brought the England side into full control of this game. Beautifully weighted kick, good effort. And you can see there that Stéphane Millet was caught out of position.
So McNamara, 100% record back here at the Boulevard. And here's the opportunity for 5 from 5. Hits the post. 28-14.
Well, I'll let you be the video referee on this occasion. Watch for when the ball hits the boot. And I think that St. Hilaire is a fraction in front. You can see the shadows. To be fair to Steve McNamara, is slightly taller perhaps than St. Hilaire, not much in them.
So what you're saying, the shadow was onside and the player was offside. Is that what you're giving us now?
I'll try anything to convince that the video referee was wrong. He's not too impressed, Mr. Dumas.
Yes, he's just checking the watch, and he knows he's got half an hour for his his country to rescue this game. That's got to be a penalty. Well, I don't know what you're protesting your innocence for. Mr. Dulac, you're all over him.
Little doubt about it. He's trying to get Orton onto his back. Orton says, get out of the way. Sacre bleu.
It just shows you what a couple of days in the south of France does for my esteemed co-commentator. He's got it all now.
I'm just saying 3 or 4 plates under your belt, Eddie.
This snap is Jackson. Great support from St. Hilaire. Oh, he spun away from the tacklers, and St. Hilaire's second try.
That really was superb support play. All the side would have enjoyed that. Even more, I'm sure, of the coach, John Keir.
That was inventive play from the English.
Support the man carrying the football, and they are getting rewarded. Look at that, the little shimmy from Deacon. He's having a fine match, back on the inside. Jackson did well. Not the best attempt, perhaps, from Bernous, the winger, but St. Hilaire grabs the second for himself in his second half. Such a difficult man to stop, and like all good hookers should do, trail the man with the football and the fullback, St. Hilaire. Fine effort, good teamwork.
Great try from the Leeds fullback Marcus St. Hilaire. Made his academy debut here in February 1996 against the French, and the academy that day won 64 points to 10. Not quite that easy tonight. McNamara now, who missed with the earlier kick, and who has missed with another. He got underneath that. 32 points to 14, though, England ahead.
Anticipation. They both trail the little halfback, and off they go. Outstanding work from the hooker, Lee Jackson. So often Jackson comes off the bench, injects a little bit more impetus into a side. We'll remember that for quite some time.
Yeah, good try from Marcus St. Hilaire, but big question mark about the French defence in the past 3 or 4 minutes. Getting to the danger zone for France now, really. Do they have the stamina to match it with England towards the 80 minutes? Or will it now become a procession to the French line?
It depends what attitude and what style of play England produce now, right up until the end of the game. I'm sure that John Keir will want to try to keep this ball alive.
Well, John Keir will want a big win, there's no doubt about that. There will be no taking the foot off the gas for the English. Good hands, Haaland. Support from Deacon. Good stuff. Deacon, he's away. Lost the boot in the tackle. Trying to get to his feet. Jackson, Sampson delays the ball. McAvoy. France have it all to do now to keep England out. Last one for England. They're running it. Now McNamara will put the kick in out wide. Looking for Price, who almost claimed it, and a good job that the ball bounced into the hands of Carrasco for France.
Beautiful kick yet again from Steve McNamara. He's certainly on in that department. Field kicking, good work by Haaland. But silly play eventually. He's involved in that build-up to that. But the kicking game from Steve McNamara has been quite outstanding.
Yes, he's missed, hasn't he, with a couple of conversion attempts, but other than that, been pretty faultless. Remember, it was his 40-20 kick early in the first half that led to that first try.
Well, we just saw the prop forward El Kalouki, who had such a fine match last week in Carcassonne, has been extremely quiet tonight. They really have done a good job on them, especially Dean Sampson and the forwards. They've worked and hunted in the pack. Okay, a couple of times they've been caught at the play the ball area, but other than that, their defence has been solid.
De Vecchi to Freycinou. Here's Carrasco again. Oh, and Haaland went just a little high then. Garcia. That's the last for France. This set of 6. Wolf. De Vecchi. Wide it goes to Dulac. Couldn't get away from McAvoy. Ball has gone forward.
Well, he's tried hard tonight. Arnaud Dulac, both in attack and defence, and it was sheer desperation there. Full credit, though, to the French. Trying to keep the ball alive. The English defence expecting the kick on the last. Went for the power play. Nothing came of it. It's important now that England do not go into a one-out style of play. Keep stretching this French defence, and the gaps will come.
Here's Blakely. Jackson's there at dummy half. Samson. Jackson again. Good run, he saw a gap. Cuts inside, support is there from Captain Malloy. Steve Malloy, 2 captaincies in the past 10 days for England. He was captain of emerging England against Wales at Widnes last year as well. The stab through from McNamara, watched on this occasion though by Benus. Well, we know that Terry Newton and indeed Danny Orr have been off the field for long periods. We heard the news of Danny Orr earlier. Let's now catch up with news of Terry Newton. Bill.
Well, Terry Newton got a bang on the side of the head in that first half, and the decision has been made not to send him back on. In fact, I think he's probably in the process of getting changed, or has got changed. They just don't want to run the risk, unnecessary risk at this stage with the game looking as though it's in the bag, although Danny Orr is stretching at the moment. There is Terry Newton changed and not looking too bad. He was a bit groggy though when he came off. Danny Orr stretching at the moment, and he could be ready to come back very shortly indeed.
That's good news that the 2 Englishmen are A-OK. Freycinou looking for a 40-20 kick. Rodgers has come back to stop that. Saw the gap, and he's always brave, isn't he? He's always willing to have a go, Darren Rodgers. Here's Saint-Hilaire, he's on a hat-trick. Saint-Hilaire has broken through, taking on Millet, wants the hat-trick. Millet did well.
Took him on the arc. Excellent work from both the fullbacks.
England on the roll, though, but Rodgers couldn't take the pass in. And here now is Jean-Emmanuel Cassin standing in the tackle. No second phase of attack for him.
Well, it was good work by Samson. Took the play right down on the blind side, caught the French defence. And they could see there that Cassin had the ball for an eternity trying to offload, and you get the impression now that the French are running out of steam.
Applause for Lee Jackson, another former Hull favourite for that tackle. On his opposite, Vincent Wolf. Wolf, who jogs into dummy half again. Good ball to Carrasco. Danny Orr preparing to return to the fray.
Well, that surprises me. And the scoreline there, the 32-14, you really don't have to start bringing players back on, but knowing Danny Orr, he'll be eager to get out there.
High kick, De Vecchi, now that's hit Darren Rodgers, and I think he made a play for it, so this will be head and feed to the French.
Well, he said he didn't, but really, Darren Rodgers should have taken that on the full. And this perhaps will be a head and feed for the French side. Well, his first mistake tonight, when the ball has been kicked high to him, has been pretty solid. He really should have taken that. Maybe he could have lost it in the lights.
Head and feed to France then, Dulac, and he helps it on to Cassin.
It's been a good battle, hasn't it, there, out in the centres, and Maloney, he's worked hard in defence.
Garcia, good run from the French captain, Garcia, game run. He's lost that ball. Referee says play on.
Well, he played it before he regained his feet. Referee, Mr. Alibert, said it's all right.
Penalty against McNamara. England under a bit of pressure here. Texido. Wolf. Freycinou, De Vecchi. He hits the ball at pace, does Guisset. Oh, they've done well. Millet out wide, and that was Benous.
Good work from McAvoy there. Ball and all tackle, try saver.
Freixenet once more. Carrasco up the middle.
Worked hard as a loose forward, Carrasco. Now then, can the English defence keep them out?
Freixenet, long ball, dumped back inside, the chance is gone. Price has picked it up.
Good hit on Talek there. Bang, straight into him. Good work by Nathan McAvoy. Panic system now for France. They're trying to desperately to get points on the board.
I think they've got the nod here, though. I think this is a knock-on against England.
It's claimed that Liam Price lost the football. Certainly lost it, but was it aided by a French hand? He looks a little bit confused.
Chance for Freixenet, but Blakely was to him quickly. Inside the last quarter of the match. Certainly haven't been disgraced as they were in Gateshead a couple of years ago. And they do love to keep the ball alive whenever they can. Dulac has got some strength.
It's been one of the highlights from the French side in both these games against England.
Another penalty. Well, referee Alibert is caning England at the moment. (6-3). French leading in that department, but trailing on the scoreboard. But this might be 4 points for them. Just held up short was Jason Sands, scrambling English defence. Millet! Millet, a good tackle from Rogers. And also McAvoy. De Vecchi's at the heart of it all. Freixenet.
Good scrambling defence, sliding across very quickly are the English.
They have to as well. That's the last tackle. And Gael Talek is at dummy half. Freixenet with the kick out wide. And McAvoy picked it up on the bounce. Taking on Millet.
Well, the option was good, but there was nobody there. Just a wasted kick in the end. No pressure applied to McAvoy. Talking of this referee, Mr. Alibert, I think he's done a fine job. I can assure you, over the years, I've seen a lot worse from over the water.
Quick tap penalty, allowed to play on. Deacon, support arrives from Malloy. Malloy looks wide and finds Leon Price. Price has got ground ahead of him. Hacks the ball forward, was taken out, but it won't matter because Maloney's followed up. And Maloney gets another English try. His second of the night. Well created that by England, who took the quick tap penalty and flooded men forward. And Price's chip over the top, gathered in gratefully by Francis Maloney.
Yet again, a quick burst from the hooker Jackson. Deaking on to the skipper, and Malloy did well. He made sure he run the arc, threw the long ball out wide to Leon Price. This was a beautiful kick on the inside. It's all about support, and Maloney knows about that. Great support play by Malloy. And they were not going to give it the chase. Here he comes. Francis will have enjoyed that. See how the defence is being sucked across. And as soon as Price kicks the ball through, Maloney, very quick, reads the game so well, does this centre Francis Maloney. He's had a fine match and every right to have a huge smile on his face.
He has had a fine match, Maloney. McNamara with his 7th attempt. Lucky number 7 for Steve McNamara, 38 points to 14. England, I think, coasting now to victory.
Just shows you what great support play will bring you the rewards. Working as a unit. We've seen some fine tries tonight.
Well, only 3 defeats for England in 15 meetings on home soil. Francis Maloney with his 2 tries tonight, helping England to their 24th win in this 34th international against the French, who have only won 7 with 2 draws. And no wonder John Keir is smiling.
Substitution for France, number 16, Romain Saul, replacing number 11, Jerome Guisset.
And Danny Orr returns. McAvoy, who's got a bit of a bang on the head, apparently.
Well, certainly John Keir, the English coach, will be quite happy with this. It's certainly a good basis to build upon for the World Cup next year. The one thing that's been quite evident amongst this squad is that the team spirit has been quite outstanding.
It has from start to finish. And very easy for the English at this stage of the season to treat this as an end-of-season jaunt, but David Howes and John Keir should be congratulated for keeping such a competitive edge on their players after a long, hard season.
It's been a professional performance, especially this one, and Jackson, as normal, gaining so many metres forward. He really is a poacher, isn't he?
Well, we've got a couple of lunatics on the field, I'm afraid, who are involving themselves in the play. And well, the referee wisely will hold the clock while the banner is taken away. Couple of supporters making their protests here at the Boulevard. Now is a cue for a song, and the song is Old Faithful. They're pretty proud up here on Humberside of their rugby league culture.
Well, you can see Lee Jackson appealing to the referee, saying we haven't had our full complement yet before the handover. But he certainly would not be persuaded, Mr. Alibert.
Well, the referee was absolutely right. They had their full set of 6. We can confirm that for the referee.
Just like the hooker, isn't it? Trying to con the referee.
Well, they were English protesters as well, I suppose, so maybe the French should have had it back anyway. They've got it now. And De Vecchi with a big kick downfield. Stands up, though, for St. Hilaire.
Well, he's certainly done everything that's been requested of him as the full-back. St. Hilaire, good positional play. Such an elusive runner.
Well, Graham Murray, the departing Leeds Rhinos coach, has left with big praise for that young man, Marcus St. Hilaire. Predicts a glittering future for him, and there's a glittering future for this fellow as well, Leon Price.
And it's a substitution for England. Sam Russell, number 12, replacing number 15.
French not moving forward now. They are looking extremely tired. The second half, the English have kept this ball alive.
Sampson. He plays the ball to Jackson again. Jackson on to McNamara. McNamara to Deacon. Deacon then wide it goes again to Blakely. Blakely does well off the ground to Deacon.
Good sliding defence though by the French. They will not throw the towel in. It's been a feature of both these internationals. So often in the past, the French, that'll be back to 6. No advantage, will take the scrum.
Yes, knock on against Freyssinou.
See the standoff, desperate to try to get the possession.
Don't know how he can try and dispute that, but still. We have 68.5 minutes of the match gone, and for those of you who like to keep your statistics, we have had 29 changes in this match so far, and maybe that's the 30th you're just seeing now. Players being shuttled on and off the field by their coaches.
Well, this is the time now for the English players to set up for any set moves that they've been practicing.
Danny Orr, Maloney just couldn't take the pass in. And the referee will play no advantage against England, and France will have the head and feet at the scrum.
Good work from Kassan. See, he applied the pressure. Little chance of getting through to it. There's been some periods within this game that the English attack, the build-up has been quite superb. And that's always pleasing for a coach when things work out on the paddock. under a lot of pressure. But they've tried hard at the French. It certainly is not a disgrace. They've contributed to a good open game.
They have on 2 occasions now. El Kalouki hauled down unfairly, and a 2-man tackle and stealing the ball, which I don't think the English captain agreed with.
I think he had a little bit of a hand in there. Recovered it, did El Kalouki. Now then, can the French finish with something to go back over the pond with?
Here they come with Kalouki. He's lost that. Big hit by Malloy.
Hasn't been his night, has he?
No, he was outstanding in Carcassonne 10 days ago, but not so tonight.
He was a big hit by the English skipper.
And there's someone else as well who won't be too impressed. Sylvain Hules, who got the try in his debut last week, the 18-year-old, the wing in the number 5 jersey. He is desperate to play in Super League. Price on all fours gets the pass away to Rogers.
Good combination to the 2 wingers there, helping each other out.
Malloy doing well. Jackson to Orr. Little dummy. Did well, got it away. Farrell retains possession for England. Still Farrell. Jackson, scampering run down the short side. They've let him go. Jackson, that is deserved. Lee Jackson, back on familiar territory. The Leeds hooker saw that they had gone to sleep down the short side. Scores his first try for England. Big favourite in this part of the world, despite his moves elsewhere.
How many times has he done this tonight? Just scooted away from dummy half. He will enjoy watching this time and time again. Forwards love to score tries, I can tell you, especially hookers, and he's had a fine match. And you could see it was a very tired 13-second marker position by the French. He took full advantage, as he often does. Little cheeky point to the fullback, Millet. Not so sure what he was saying. Go and have a look at the scoreboard. Great stuff.
Yes, well done, Lee Jackson. Ex-Hull, Sheffield, Newcastle in Australia, now at Leeds Rhinos. And McNamara, another former Hull FC player. Hull Sharks, of course, these days. And McNamara strikes the woodwork, but this time it goes over. Top the 40-point mark now, 44 points to 14. Comprehensive English victory.
He's had a fine 2 games as Steve McNamara. So has he. And those 2 players really will be the cornerstone that John Keir will build upon. And I must say, everybody involved in this English squad must feel pretty confident.
Yes, well, this English side, of course, has been resurrected this year, but if you look in their history books, you'll notice that their last defeat was in the World Cup final in 1995 against Australia. And I wouldn't bet against England or New Zealand against Australia in World Cup 2000 in the final. Notice, by the way, overnight that Scotland have beaten Wales in the Tri-Nations, so Sean McRae's men have done a good job for him against the Welsh. Welsh may be a little light on talent, with the likes of Iestyn Harris and Adrian Morley down under. Adrian Morley, who has declared his intent to play for Wales next year. But Englishmen through and through is Dean Sampson. He's on the sideline with Bill.
The first try scorer of the night, Dean, and it's been pretty plain sailing, hasn't it?
Yes, it's been a tough game around the middle. The French have been very competitive again. They've been up very quickly. I think a little bit lenient with the 10, but you know, when we've got his chances, we've taken them, especially in the second half. Lee St. Hilaire's been a revelation there, linking into the line, but it's been very enjoyable.
Is that from a personal point of view as well?
Yeah, definitely. You know, to get over for a try. 2 in 2 games, it's quite a very good record for the front row, especially at international level, and you know, I'm really enjoying it, and hopefully all the boys back home who are all going out on Lee's head wetting tonight will all be having a beer, and they'll be cheering me on.
Now then, how much motivation was there going into this game after what happened to Great Britain yesterday? Was that mentioned by the side?
No, not at all really. We're a total different entity really. What we're playing for here is places in next year's World Cup. And you know, we know the Great Britain lads who are English have got the jump on us, but if we can give as good a showing here as we know we can individually, then we've got a good chance of being there come next October, November.
But was that painful for you, as somebody who was on the edge of the squad?
Oh, definitely. Yesterday I watched the game, and I really felt for the boys out there. You know, they played so well for so long, but against the Australians, they just showed that you can't relax for 2 minutes, and I did really feel for the boys.
Taking it out in the French tonight anyway, thanks.
Definitely.
Yes, they have. It's an obvious step up in class that Great Britain and Ireland have to face in the Tri-Series, but their next task is next Friday. New Zealand, the opposition, Friday 7:30 in the morning, Sky Sports 1, with the full match highlights at 7 o'clock on Sky Sports 1 that night. And another, of course, of the Welsh contingent down under, Kieran Cunningham. This is Guisset. Guisset on to Devechi. France looking to leave us with a memory, and maybe they will with Dulac. Whoa, good hit by Anthony Farrell. Last tackle for France. Looking for the penalty is Dulac. Jean-Marc Garcia. Devechi slides the kick through. Comes off an English hand and is eventually hacked dead.
Good play by the little halfback. You can see there was no one at home and pushed it through. Jackson went down at it, got the bobble. Skipper Malloy came to the rescue.
Well, the referees deemed that was a knock-on. It's not going to be a dropout from underneath the sticks, as everybody else thought on the ground. It's going to be a scrum with head and feet to the French. So a little bit of defending for England to do in the last couple of minutes. Comprehensive win, though. But will France leave us with a memory for the next World Cup? They will. Garcia. Garcia's try. And that's his 15th in internationals for his country. And Jean-Marc Garcia has played against no fewer than 12 rugby league nations in his time. And here he is with his 13th try.
Fully deserved that. Danny Orr got injured earlier, perhaps. A little bit of a problem going down for the tackle, but full credit to the French skipper. It was a good effort there by Jean-Marc Garcia. Nice play. See how they just sucked in the standoff. Danny Orr, sufficiently enough for the French skipper to go over for a try.
Yes, Jean-Marc Garcia with Sheffield under John Keir. 22 tries in 38 Super League appearances for the Eagles. Now at the Saint-Estève club in France. This is 31st international cap. And Stéphane Millet. 1 from 3. We'll try and add to that total now. And try and give this scoreline a little bit of respectability for the French. And he's kicked it. So 44 points to 20. Entertaining little match here at the Boulevard, and England have won it easily, but the last memory from the French.
You see there the standoff, Danny Orr just caught in 2 minds there. It's good play though. Nice offload. And well taken.
Shallow kick-off from England. And they have it back. courtesy of Lee Jackson. 20 seconds remaining. Oh, that could be a penalty, and should have been maybe. Referee allowing England to play on. Farrell, Dryland, Kaluki. 10 seconds remaining. Maloney on to Malloy. Malloy to within 10 metres of the line. This the last play the ball of this match. Or Deacon slides it through, and it's a try and a hat-trick for the fullback, Marcus St. Hilaire. Hat-trick for Marcus St. Hilaire. He crowns a great night personally, and it's not the last word for the French. The last word is from the English dictionary.
Well, we said about combining, doing the specialised moves, and that was a set move. Good work from Paul Deacon. He knew as soon as he got the football, or out to Deacon, but he knew that the fullback would be chiming right through. Perfectly weighted. Well taken. Hat-trick time. New beauty.
Yes, St. Hilaire with the try. So this kick from Steve McNamara from just about bang in front to take England beyond the 50 mark. Or to the 50 mark, should I say. And McNamara with this kick. Should be academic. 7 from 9, and it is. 50 points for England. A smile from Steve McNamara, the full-time siren. And Paul Deacon has been named by the press as the man of the match. So the young vice-captain, 20 years of age, winning his second England cap as the players exchange jerseys. He's the man of the match in a fully enterprising English display. The French have contributed, though, to 2 good internationals, full of entertaining rugby league. And coming next, we look back on this England win at the Boulevard. They've won by 50 points to 20. Marcus St. Hilaire, the hat-trick.
November, Sky brings you 5 world title fights. On Sky Sports, Joe Calzaghe steps into the ring to face Omar Shaker. Method Man Jason Matthews faces undefeated Bert Schenk. Billy Schwer fights for the crown against Steve Johnston. Plus on Sky Box Office, Manuel Medina faces up to the Yorkshire Hunter Paul Ingle and the eagerly awaited rematch, Holyfield v. Lewis, a knockout month of boxing on Sky in November.
The new Vauxhall Vectra. Now re-engineered for maximum comfort and effortless driving. It makes every journey feel shorter. The new Vauxhall Vectra. The end of long journeys.
Vauxhall, raising the star.
I like to think of myself as an innovator who started a company, Dell Computer, around an idea that everybody should be doing business directly with one another, one-to-one, with no barriers. To me, that's the power of the internet. We'd like to show you how to empower your business in ways you've never imagined. I'm Michael Dell, and it's our reason for being.
Be direct. Dell. Dell servers feature Intel Pentium 3 processors.
You guys kill me. You take a delicious Oriental infusion and dump cow juice into it. You get more rain in a year than Borneo. Yet the minute it stops, they hit you with a hose pipe ban. You sunbathe in your clothes. You invent a sport that no one understands, and the whole world still whips you at it. And your most popular dish is curry. Nowadays, even your civil wars are civilized. Small country, isn't it?
Sorry?
When it comes to sex, we all know what you prefer, but you must be doing something right. Because 17 million of us, Johnny Foreigners, would rather fly your airline than any of our own. I guess you should be proud of that. But that wouldn't be very British, would it? Sorry.
These are our favourite websites. Here's Mum's. Here's my sister's. She's also from another planet. Oh yeah, this one's mine. This one's cool. Do you have anything like this where you come from?
Watch. With the internet, the whole world's at your fingertips.
Wicked.
And with BT, access to the internet is free.
What's going on in here?
Just call 0800 800 001 for a disc.
Here are some scary words. E-commerce, online transaction, internet purchase. Here are some human words. Cheddar, loo roll, rubber gloves. When we buy things on the internet, what we buy won't change, just the way we buy them. It needn't be scary. Now there's a credit card that's safe for humans to use online and on the high street. Now you can pay with marbles.
Ever After, a Cinderella story.
I beg of you, a name.
Buy Ever After now on video.
The new Ericsson T28. Small, intelligent, tasteful.
Comprehensive victory for England in the end, 50 points to 20, and I'm sure a highly enjoyable night's work for coach John Keir.
Pretty comprehensive performance all round, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm delighted because it just shows you what you can do with an extra week's preparation. We used that week very sensibly. The lads bonded very well, and I think the spirit showed in how urgent they were, even though the game was won towards the end, at trying to keep the French out. And the French haven't played that bad, but I'm just delighted, and I think we played very, very well indeed.
Well, at least the game in England gets a bit of a boost after the hammering Great Britain took.
Yeah, and when you look at people like Leon Price and his performance, Paul Deacon, Danny Orr, these are young kids who are coming through. So things aren't perhaps as black as it might be painted. We've got to be positive, we've got to keep working, and things will come right.
Well done, John Keir, well said, and well done his England team as well. 50 points to 20. Now, we were so despondent, weren't we, yesterday morning, but here tonight...